A very good evening, everyone. Um, welcome to the third session of our Cypress program. And I believe you are slowly getting things and how Cypress architecture works. And in the last sessions, we were talking about different locators, so especially the locator strategy used in Cypress, and so how well we can able to locate the elements in Cypress. So we saw that, and so we have taken quite a few practical examples, and we tried to understood the concepts, and we have also seen that the only locator that is mainly used in Cypress is CSS selector, right? And we have also seen other selector strategies, how well we can refer ID or like class or like other attributes in the form of CSS selector. Okay. So before we move ahead with the next topic, so there are also quite a few interesting options or methods that are available. So I'll just walk you through quite a few methods. Okay, just allow me a moment. I'll just share my screen. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So this was the example that we tried practicing the other day, and we went and we tried a complete scenario. So let me take up a new test case. I'll altogether take a new file, and I will say as locators 2. I'll just take the base file from here. I'll just copy the script and put it over here. Right. Okay. So I'll just delete all this. Okay. So now I'll take a different website. There is one website called saucedemo.com. Right. I'll just use this website. I'll give it in my visit. So now here, if you see in this website, it is again a demo application where I have a username field, a password field, and they have given some usernames which we can use, right? And if I go and inspect the specific element, let me inspect this element. So this is the HTML DOM for this. And if I see here, this element has an ID, right? If you see here, it has an ID user hyphen name. Let me use this. I'll just copy this ID, and I'll say in Cypress, I can say sci.get. If I want to locate any element, I can use sci.get. And inside this, if I want to refer an ID, I want to use hash, right? And I can give the ID, and what I want to do, I want to type some value. The type value that I need to type is, let's take this value, standard user, right? So I want to give standard user as the username. So similarly for password, if I see for my password, let me inspect my password. And if I see for password, there is an ID called password. If you see here, there is an ID called password. Okay, so what I can do, I can simply say cy.get, and I can use a hash, and I can say password. Okay, right, and I can say type, and whatever password I need to type, I'll just take from here. They are saying the password is secret sauce. Okay, I'll just put it over here. And one more thing, you can refer like this, or otherwise in the previous class also we have seen what you can also do is, you can also say, you can directly refer the ID, or otherwise you can refer from the tag, right? Input. I can simply say there is an input tag whose ID is password. This way. This will also work. I can also say this way. This is again a kind of CSS strategy. Right. The next one is what I need to do. I need to go and click this login button. Let me inspect this login. And now if I see here, so this login has a class and okay, this also has an ID, right? And it also has a attribute like data test something, right? Suppose if I want to use an attribute, I believe you remember the attribute strategy. I can either use this class or like this ID. And if I want to use the attribute strategy, I can simply say cy.get and I can put a square bracket and I can use this, let's say data hyphen test, right? So this is the attribute strategy. I can use data hyphen test equal to, and I can put the value whatever they have given. So that is this login button. I'll just copy from here and put it here. Right. Okay. So I'll just close this now. So if I encounter this element, what I need to do? I need to go and click. That's it. Right. So let me save this, and what I'll do, I'll open my Cypress app, npx Cypress, open. Okay. We'll now open the Cypress app. Go to testing. I'll open via Chrome. Right. So this is my file, locators2. Let me run this file. So it will now execute. Let's see. Okay, it launches the application. Fine, perfect. So if you see now, it have logged in, right? I can able to see where it went, all that. So this is working fine. Right. Any questions as of now in this? I believe this already we discussed, and I have just taken a different application where we have different element strategies. We have just used it. Any doubts in this? All clear?
Rami, I have one doubt. When I tried this in my machine, this page is not properly loading, or it is
Actually,
taking too much time.
yeah, actually, there is what is that? A problem with this website, the source demo. Actually, it is a problem with this website. What I got to understand is like, so you need to add a web security a configuration in your Cypress config file. So if you go to your config file, you can just add the settings. Chrome web
Web
security,
security false. Let me check.
just add the settings, save it. See, the moment you make any changes to your configuration file, so your Cypress app will be reset. Right. And again, you need to explicitly execute and see whether it is working.
Okay, I will try.
Yeah, fine. So you can try and let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Work actually. Even today, I am also facing the same issue. I don't know. So there is some problem in that website, not with Cypress. Right. Okay. Now, what we will do is we will move ahead. I'll also show you few more powerful methods. See, this is one test case. See, we can also create multiple test cases. In that case, what we have to do is we have to include a describe block. I told you already, this comes from the Mocha framework. Describe is mainly used to execute multiple test cases together. So I can simply say describe. I will say locators, examples, something like this. I will define the function, right? And I will put this test case inside my describe block. It refers a test case actually, right? I'll remove this it completely, right? Now, what I can do is I can also write multiple test cases. Now, what I will do, I will write my next test case. I will just copy the same thing. I'll put it again down, right? Okay. So now, let's say this is, let me say demo 1. And here I will say this is demo 2, right? So now I'll delete all this. Okay. Now there are a few methods. Now, if I see here, suppose if I go to this application, okay, not this one. I'll just take the application. Okay. Now, if I take this application, right, and if I go and inspect this username, if I inspect this username, if I see here, right, so this is an input tag. If you see, this is an input tag. This entire username comes in an input tag. That means it is an edit box. Now, if I come to password, this password is also in an input tag. Now, I can also refer my element using this tag. Now, you see what I'm going to do. I'll say cy.get, right? And what I will do, I will simply say input. Now, what this will do is in this web page, it will take all the input tags. Wherever input is there, it will take all the input tags, right? Among all the input tags, okay, if you see here, among all the input tags, see, I'm just assuming that there is no other input tag before this because this is the first input tag. Okay, above that, nothing is there, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a method. Among all the input tag, I want the first input tag. There is a method called first, right? And simply I'm going to say type whatever, this value, standard user. You're getting this method first, right? See, I don't want to exactly get the ID or like the class or like anything. I can also say this way, right? Now, this is one way. I'm going to use a method called first, right? So now, if I want to execute and see now if I run this, it will run this test case and it will run this test case. Suppose I want to run only this test case. What I can do is I can simply say it dot only. If I use this method, it will execute only this test case in this test suite, right? So in this way, you can customize and run. Let me save this and come back to my test runner. Let me refresh it. Now you see it went and typed standard user here, right? So I'm using this first method. Okay. Is this clear? Yes, no. Right. Now you see, I'll use another method. What I will do, I will say cy.get input. Now we know this is the first input and this is the second input in this entire page. There is no other input that I can see. Now I can also refer this input tag by index. I can use a method dot eq equal eq of, if I say 0, this will refer the first element. if I say 1, this will refer password. Now, let me check. I will type here whatever the password. The password is secret sauce. Right. Let me save this and let me re-execute it and see whether this is working. Can you see now? This is working. Is this clear? And similarly, like first method, we also have a last method. Right. Now, okay, let me again inspect this login. Try to understand what is this. Okay, now you see this login is also an input element. Okay, it is a button, but it is in an input tag. Okay, now if I say something like this, cy.get of input, right? And if I say dot last, this is the last element, last input, and this will now refer to this login button. And now what I can do, I can simply say dot click. Now if I run, this will also do the same thing what we did here. Let me run this and see what happens. Can you see now? Is this clear? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So you can use like whichever methods you are comfortable, you can use it. Right. So these are all Cypress methods. See, in Selenium, we don't have all this. Okay. Now, I'll take you to something different. I will create one more set of test case. Okay. Now, what I will do, I want to run only this. This is demo 3. Okay. Now, what I will do, I don't want to use all this. Okay. Now, same way, I will say cy.get of, let's say, input. Okay. Now, instead of first equal, there is also a method called filter. Filter. Among all the input tag, you filter based on some condition, is what I'm going to say. Right. So what is the condition? So I need to tell the condition. Okay, so that is filter. So what will be the condition now? What I can say? I can say among all the input tag, so you just look for a type. Let me say, I will say type equal to text. Okay, now if you see this element, if I show you this element, see, this is our username field. This username field, see, this username and password both are input tag, but there is some difference. If you look at here, the type attribute is text, and for this the type attribute is password. Can you see the difference? See, I'm just filtering among the input tag itself. I'm using a filter. I want to filter it with text. Okay, so in this case, there is one element. I'm filtering with the text, and I'm just going to say dot type whatever the username, standard underscore user. Right. So if you can able to filter and jot down to a single element, you can write this way. Now similarly, what I can do, I can filter for password also. I can say now type equal to whatever. What is the type here? Password. I can say the type is password. Right. Go and type this password. Secret sauce. Okay. Now similarly, I'll see the type for my login button. This is my login button, and yeah, I can see a type. Can you see? Type equal to submit. So same way, what I can do, I can copy this, put it here, type equal to submit. Then I don't want to type anything. I want to click. This is filter method. You can filter the elements based on some unique attributes. Now, if I run this, this will also do the same thing. Let me check. I'll run this. Now it is executing demo 3. There is some problem. I think I missed. Yeah. The double quotes I missed. Right. Let me save this. Rerun my app. Yeah. So can you see? Is this clear?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now there is one more interesting method. I'll show you that also. I'll just copy this. Let's say demo 4. Okay. Now I'll delete all this. Let me go to my application. Now, if I see here, these are all the elements which is under our scope, which we want to work. Now, if you look at very carefully, all these elements is in a parent tag called form. If you see here, form, and this form is in a div tag, division, and again it goes like this. Okay, let me take this form. And if you look at here, in this entire page, there is only one form. I'll take this form now. What I will do, I will say cy dot get. I will say get the form. Right. Now it will directly get this form. Now what I'm going to say, from this form, I want Cypress to find something. I will use a method called find. Find, in this form, find a tag called input. Right. Find a tag called input. Now what it will do? It will now find 3 inputs. Okay. Out of these 3 inputs, what I can do? I can refer with an index. If I say 0, it will refer this input. If I say 1, it will refer this input. If I say 2, it will refer this input. What I will do? I will simply say dot EQ. EQ of 0. You remember? We have used here. EQ of 1. Right. So when there are multiple elements which matches with a locator, I can use equal and refer the index if I am aware of the index. Then I can say type, I'll say whatever value, the standard goes. Right. So this will also work. Let me check this. I'll try to run. Right. Can you see now? It went and typed standard user. So same way, now what I can do, I can now say, go to all the input tags one by one. right? And here I need to type secret sauce. And here I don't want to type anything. I need to click. That's it. I'm using a find method here. Let me run this. This will also do the same. Done. Is this clear? Yes, no.
Yes, Ravi.
Right. So there is also one more method. I can also find the parent of an element. Say, for example, if I see here, okay, now this is a form. Okay, now I'll tell you one more thing. I'll take another test case. And I'll give you time, so you don't want to do in a hurry. Just try to understand things. Please don't do parallelly. You may get confused. I'll give you time, no worries. Okay, so let me delete all this. I will have, okay. I want to go to this form. Now, if I see here, I want to go to this form. So this statement, what it will do, cy.getForm, in this web page, it will go to the form. Generally, in one web page, you will have only one form. Right. Now, if I look at here, this is this form. Now, I'm going to say dot parent. I want to go to its immediate parent. What is an immediate parent? This one. Div of class, this division. And this division, if I see, it has a class. There is only one attribute here. Right, but there could be multiple attributes also. In this application, there is only one attribute, that is class. See, I want to check this class. Okay. For any specific element, I want to go to the parent and check some attribute. Okay. So now what I can do, there is a method called parent. Go to the parent and I can use a method should. Okay. So this is actually an assertion. I will talk about assertion next. Okay. I will talk about all this should and all next. As of now, you just accept whatever I'm doing. I want to stress on this method. See, this is our focus, parent. Okay. I can simply say should. There is an attribute called have.class. Have.class. Okay. And I'm just going to check whether this matches with login box. I want to check whether the parent have a class called login box. Right. Now, if I run this, it will now check. Let me run this. Now, this is an example of assertion. I'll talk about assertion in detail. Can you see now? It is passing. It says assert expected to have class. It is passing. I can able to see in a green bar. Right. Suppose if I expect something else, say for example, I'm just expecting login underscore. Now, if I run this, okay, can you see now? It checks and now I'm getting an error. Can you see now? It says timed out retrying after 4000 milliseconds. As you are aware, Cypress by default will wait for 4000 milliseconds. That is 4 seconds for any element to happen. So now I'm just expecting login underscore, but actually it is this. Okay. So I'll talk more about assertions next, but as of now, you just try to understand how to access the parent. I'll also tell you how to access the children and all next. Fine. All good. Can you able to try all this? Yes, no.
Yes, Ravi.
Fine. So we'll take some 10 minutes. So please try all the methods and ensure that you are clear on all these methods, because this is something totally different from that of Selenium. So far, like whatever we have seen, so you could able to relate with Selenium, but these are all the inbuilt method which Cypress has, right? And it will be really useful. So when you don't want to always depend on the locators, right? And every time you don't want to always use the CSS selector strategy to locate an element or like reference an element. You can also use this kind of methods, right? Fine. So you can just try this and just type done if in case you have completed everything. We'll give 10 minutes for people who have yet to complete, and then we will move on.
Demi, can you show me the configuration files one more?
Yeah, I'll show you. Just give me a second. I'll just share my screen.
Not this one, the one where you asked to add that for the Chrome.
Okay, the settings.
The settings, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just say Chrome Web Security : false. Already we have added watch for file changes the other day. Just say comma and add one more attribute.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any doubts, anyone? Hope you can able to do it.
Yes.
Just let me know if you have done. We'll move on. Shall we move on? Yes, no, Namir, Mary Divya, Shamblingappa, Dilip, Bhavya, Arun.
Yes, sir. Can.
Okay. What others? Jayashree, Ebenezer, Rajni. You want some more time or shall we move on? Okay, fine. So now, what we will do? Okay, so earlier on day one, I told you, see, generally, if you take Cypress, Cypress, you can able to create your test, and you can able to perform your execution in two different modes. So one is via your Cypress app, right? So what we are doing, so we are every time opening our Cypress app, and we are executing. So that is the GUI mode, the graphical user mode, where you can able to see all the options, everything, right? See, this generally what happens is it will consume a lot of memory, and probably what happens is it directly interacts with your application. It loads your application on the browser, and it performs all the request response operations, the communications you can able to see, and generally it takes a lot of time, right? See, sometimes what you may want to do is you don't want to go that way. Probably when you are running your test cases multiple times in your project, every time, so you don't want to execute using your app, right? So what you can also do is you can also run your Cypress test cases in CLI mode, that is using your command line, right? So that is also another option. So wherein, like, if you want to make your test execution faster, and like any kind of compatibility issues that your application has in terms of interacting, or like loading it in Cypress, so those errors also you can able to avoid those problems, right? So and one more thing, when you run your test using the command line, right, by default Cypress will use the Electron browser, because Electron browser is the default browser that comes with Cypress. Okay, so this also I told you on day one. The other browsers, whatever you see in the Cypress app, are the browsers that are supported by Cypress, and at the same time that was installed, and which you have in your system. Right. Okay. So now let's take up any test, and I'll show you how to run in a CLI mode. Okay, I'll just share my screen. So let me know if you can able to see my screen. Yeah, can you able to see my screen? Just one moment. Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yes, Amit.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So now, if you want to run in a command line mode, what I can do is, okay, so what I have to do, I have to go to the bin folder. Actually, I need to refer to my bin folder. I'll just copy this location, considering this is the location of my project. I'll say, go to this location, project 2. This is my project 2. So in this project 2, what I need to do, I need to go to a module called node modules, node underscore modules. So if you see here, here is where that entire Cypress libraries are available. So I'm just going to that node modules, and inside this, I need to go to the bin folder, which is a hidden folder, .bin. I will say .bin, and I will say slash Cypress. Using this, here is where my Cypress exe resides. Using this Cypress exe, I want to execute. Right. So this is what I'm saying. Using this Cypress, I will initiate a command run, and now I need to tell which file I need to execute. So because in this project, I have plenty of test cases, right? So which test case I want to execute. So I will now say hyphen spec refers a test case file. Okay, now I will tell where is the file. So I will say the file that I need to execute is let's say this test CY, I will just copy the path. I'll put over here. 1 second. Yeah. So this is the file. That's it. You see now? So I'm saying using this Cypress, I'm just running the spec file, which is in this location, right? So you can also just give the file name if it is in this path, that will also work. So I'm just giving the complete path. So now I want to execute this file. So now if I just hit enter, you can now able to see it will open a command prompt and it will start executing the file. You can see here. Can you see now? It have opened by default the Electron browser and it will run in a headless mode. That means you may not able to see the actual execution. It will run in headless mode and it will give you the status here. You can now able to see it have started executing this test file, which I wanted to execute in this Electron browser in headless mode. Just wait for the results to come. Okay, so it was a Google test, which was our first test case, and this was the time that it have taken, and it is passed, and you can able to see, oh, okay, all the status. Okay, it went off. 1 second, I'll just re-execute. Okay, it will go off actually. You can able to see. It will execute the test. And one more thing, if you observe here, it will also take the screenshot. If in case anything happens, it will also take the screenshot and save it in your test folder. Yeah, it says passed, and this is the test which has passed, and it also creates a video. Can you see? It creates a video file. And it is giving me an output, right? So this is how you can run your test in a command line mode. So sometimes what happens is you may also want to use a different browser. So how to use a different browser? Say for example, I don't want to run in an Electron browser. I want to run it in Chrome. Okay, so what you have to do? So you give everything and just add one more argument. Let's say hyphen hyphen towards the end. You can just say browser and in which browser you want to run the test. I will say Chrome. And ensure that Chrome is there in your system. So this will run in Chrome again in headless mode. If I run this, it will open the command prompt. You can able to see, and the same test. Now you see it uses your Chrome, and it will execute. Right. So similarly, you can use all the other supporting browsers like Edge or Firefox if you want to use. You can try the same way. Okay. Now, this is headless mode. By default, it runs in headless mode. You can also use CLI and you can also run in a headed mode. Okay. So for that, what you have to do is, just give me a second. Let this execution get over. Okay. Now, if I want to run via CLI in headed mode, what you can do, I can say this way, and what I can do is, I can simply say one more argument, hyphen hyphen headed. I can use one command, hyphen hyphen headed. Now what it will do? It will use Chrome in headed mode, right? Now if I hit enter, you can now able to see it will open Chrome browser. Can you see now? It opens Chrome browser and the execution now will happen in Chrome browser in headed mode. It will open the app. The test runner, it will open and it will execute via test runner. So I am invoking my test runner via CLI. Right. So similarly, I can also use other browsers also in headed mode. Say for example, if I want to run in Electron, I don't want to give this argument, just simply say --headed, it will run. Okay, so this is one option, but generally we will not use the CLI commands, but in Cypress, we also have this option where you can run your test in CLI mode. Done. All good. Shall we move on? Hope you can able to try this. Yes, no.
When it's time to try it.
Sorry.
We need some time to try it.
Sure. Try.
Hi, Rame. Meanwhile, I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw this URL launching in the Electron, and we can give the other browser which are available in the system. So Electron is from the internal tool from the Cypress. So I could see some of the difference in the seconds, which when it is taking by default Electron, but when we are going to the other browser, it is taking a little bit of time.
Correct.
So is this so what from your side, what do you recommend? Is the Electron by default is helpful for
It again,
such
Ulesh,
scenario?
again depends on our requirement purely. See, suppose you want to do a compatibility testing where you are testing an application from your client side, where your client has a requirement to test it via Chrome or like Firefox, then probably you can prefer those two browsers. See, Electron, even though like it executes quite fast because that is an inbuilt browser from Cypress, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, like on the application front, nobody will use Electron browser in a practical world, right? So people generally what they will do is they will use Chrome or like Firefox or Edge mostly. See, when you want to do compatibility testing, so you can try there. But definitely you can use Electron browser to check other factors not on the browser compatibility, I would recommend.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. See, suppose there is a need. So you take today's any application, right? So say for example, I'm testing a banking site, something similar to HDFC or ICICI Bank. So considering the real users, tomorrow that product is going live and people starts using that particular application. So what are the most common browsers people will always use to access this application? They will typically use Chrome or like Firefox. Not even Firefox, people generally use Chrome or like Edge, right?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is primarily we need to test this two application on these browsers when it comes in terms of browser compatibility, right? Apart from that, you are checking other factors. Say for example, I want to check the functionality of my login screen, whether that is working. So if that is the case that you're going to check, then probably you can use Electron browsers wherein the test execution will be comparatively faster in terms of Cypress.
Okay.
That is how you need to decide. It is not something like you will do all kind of requirements. So that is getting tested using Electron. Please don't decide that way because that may not be the real case when the product goes live.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how we need to take a call.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Rami.
Yeah. So just confirm me once you have done. We'll next move on to a very, very important concept, that is assertions.
Done.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Thanks for confirming. Okay, let's give one more minute for other to confirm, then we'll move. Okay, fine. So we shall move on. The next concept that we are going to see is assertions. Okay, so what do you mean by assertions? See, assertions are checks or verifications that we do in our test. See, so far what we did, we have located the element, but we didn't tested anything. See, that is something what we actually call as automation testing, right? So we want to validate. So that is done with the help of assertions. So when you take Cypress, Cypress has more than one type of assertions. It has many assertions, which comes from various libraries like Mocha. There is also a library called Chai. Okay, we call it as Chai assertions, Mocha, Chai, jQuery. There is something called Sinon, right? So actually Cypress takes various methods from all these libraries. And mainly these assertions are classified into two categories. One is implicit assertion and the other one is explicit assertions. Hope you're getting what I'm saying. Right. So that means in Cypress, we have two assertions which we can use. One is implicit and the other one is explicit. So as the name says, implicit assertions are built-in assertions. That is, which is inbuilt in Cypress. Whenever we run our test, so these assertions actually run at the backend. See, we don't want to explicitly call out these assertions. By default, Cypress, what it will do, it will run at the backend. Say, for example, when we are trying to locate an element, right? So what Cypress will do is Cypress will check whether the element is present, whether it is visible on the page, right? And then what it will do, it will interact. So that is what generally Cypress will do at the backend. See, suppose if the element is not visible or like the element is not interactable, immediately Cypress will give an error, right? Actually, what it does is it validates. See, even though you just say, go and find this element and just type my name. But what Cypress inbuilt it will do is at the backend, it will use some verify commands to basically check whether that element is present on the HTML DOM. Even though that element is present, whether that element is visible on the screen, because only if the element is visible, any automation tool can able to interact with that element. Right. Suppose if I want to explicitly call out these assertions, right? We can use methods like should. Already I have shown you when we started, we used one method called should. And also there is a method called and. Right. So these are the two methods that mainly we use if I want to refer implicit assertions in Cypress. Right. On the other terms, explicit assertions are not built-in assertions. We have to explicitly call out this assertion using commands like assert, expect. These are the two methods mainly we will use. Right. So we will see different examples. First, we will start with implicit assertions. And then what we will do, we will see some demos, and then we will move on with explicit assertions. Okay, I'll just quickly share my screen. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so as I told you, in implicit assertions, we use commands like should and and. So implicit assertions can be applied to an object. When I say object, it is an element provided by the parent chained command. What do you mean by parent chained command? I'll just show you and I will explain you. Okay, fine. What we will do, I will just take a new test. I'll create a new test and we will say implicit assertion dot cy dot js. Will give a meaningful name, right? So what I'll do, I'll just take the default code. I'll put it. Right. Okay, so I'll just say this is implicit demo. Right. I don't want Google. I'll take what we will do. Okay, I'll just go to. Okay, so this website. So this is a Cypress. In the Cypress official website, they have given one example. Okay, I'll just take this website. Cypress. Okay, and I'll just go. Okay, I'll just go here. Fine. Fine. Now what I'll do, I'll just use this URL. Now, what I'll do, I'll just say cy dot. I will use the method contains. I will say get. That is this one. I need to go and interact with this element. Okay. So I'm just assuming there is no get anywhere in the screen. I don't think, because get is a method. They are explaining the get method. Okay. So I want to go to that get, right? And I want to click it. I will simply say click. Right. So now let me go to my test runner. Let me execute it. Oh, okay. I want to. 1 second. Okay, it executes the previous test. I can go to this button. See, in my test runner. See, I don't want every time re-execute via this terminal, right? You don't want every time open and re-execute. What you can do, you can simply come to your test runner and click on the specs. If you click the spec, it will show you all the specs, what you have created in your project, right? And you can now able to see the one we have created, the implicit assertion. It will automatically load that test. If you click, it will start executing that test. Now you see it opens this URL. Okay. And yeah. Now you see it clicked that get button. And because of that, I'm just getting the screen, right? So this screen. Okay. And now in the screen, there is one button. So if I use the selector playground and if I inspect this button, I can able to see there is a ID for this element, which is query button. Right. So what I will do, I will just copy this. So you can use any strategy. You can come from a browser, or like you can use the selector playground, anything. Now you are, I believe you are comfortable using both the selector playground, or like taking this URL in a normal browser and capturing all this. Right. So now I'll just take this element. Okay. Now from this element, what I want to do, I want to check something. Okay. I will just say dot should. This is how you can refer an implicit assertion. Dot should, and you can give a property contain. Okay, so contain, and I will say it should contain button. This text, I will simply say it should contain button. That's it. This is how you can refer an implicit assertion. Let me save this and rerun here. Let me run. You can now able to see it will execute and give me an output. Right, it's loading the web page. It's taking a while. And can you see here? It gives me an assert. Okay. Is this clear? You're getting this?
Yes.
Right. Now, one more thing what you can do. See, you can break this into multiple lines. That also you can do. Like this. Okay. So this is BDD style. So you can break into multiple lines, and you can also give multiple conditions. See, I can next check one more time like this. See, one time you get the element, I can check multiple conditions like this. Again, I can say one more should, and I can altogether test a different condition. Now you see this element. Okay, let me go to this element. And okay, I'll just open this in a web page. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is my web page. If I click here, this is the element. Now if I inspect this element, right, so this element has an ID. That is what we have referred now. Okay, and it also has a class. Can you see now? This has a class with two class properties. Two names are there. One is query-button, and it also has a class called button, and it also has a class called button primary. There are three names here, right? So let's say I want to check this class, whether it has a class query_button. How to check that? Now you see, I can now say, I can use something called have dot class, have class, and the negate condition is also there, not have class. Okay, now what I can do, I can simply say whether it has a class query button. Okay, I can check just for one. That's it. Right. So if you look at here, see, I can use the should. Okay, so with contain, I can say contain, or I can say should with have. Okay, so I can just check something like this, have dot class, or like have dot text, or have dot ID. I can check anything, right? And I can also associate this should with be. Something like should be visible. I'll show you an example. Next, what I can do, I can again check something like this. Should, instead of having class, I can say be dot visible. You see now? Okay, I want to check whether this element is visible on the screen. B dot visible. 1 second. B dot visible. And similarly, I can also check with some other property. Let's say should I can say b dot empty enabled. I can check whether this element is enabled, right? Okay, so now let me save this and run and see whether all this is working. Let me come here, refresh my screen. You see now all the assert is working. Right. There is also one more method. See, I can also say go to this element, and there is a method called invoke. I can give some attribute. I can say attr. This invoke method accepts 2 arguments, right? I want to check the attribute. Of which attribute I want to check? I want to check the id attribute. Okay, so from this element, retrieve the id attribute. This is what I am saying. After retrieving the id attribute, I want to check. I can say dot should. Now I can say dot should. This id attribute should be equal. You see now, I'm just mapping the should with the method equal, with the attribute equal, whether it is equal to what value? This is the id value. Query button should be the id, right? You see now? Okay, right? This also you can use. So should can be integrated with lot of things. If you see, should contain, should have, should be, and should equal. So based on the context, what you can do, you can use it, right? This is clear.
Yes.
Right. And now one more thing, if you see every time I don't want to say should like this. Okay, so this, what happens, it will treat this as a separate statement. So cy.get should have class, should be visible. That is how it will consider. See, what you can do, you can also use something called chaining assertions. See, one time you use should, and what you can do now, you can associate this with a method called and. You see now you can able to understand the should and and. And every time I don't want to say should, just say one time should, and you can simply say and. That's it. So this is altogether different, so you have to use this. And now what you can do, instead of this should, you can say and. Is this clear? This is what we call as chaining assertions. Okay, multiple assertions, you can club it together into one statement by using a method called and. This is what we call as chaining assertions in Cypress. Is this clear? Okay,
Yes.
so now if I save this and if I run this, this will also give me the same. You see now? Done. Yes, no. Okay, so I'll show you one more example and I'll give you a break so you can try all this. I'll say this is our first example, demo 1. I'll just copy this. Right, now we'll see demo 2. Okay, so here I'll take a different example. Okay, I will take another example. See, I am using various websites so that you will get to understand various elements. Okay, I don't want to always take the same thing. Okay, we'll take this. Okay, you remember this application we have taken the other day, which is a simple jQuery application. Okay, it is an Angular application. So we'll use this. Okay, what I want to do, I want to check this title. See, when I open any web page, I'll get a title like the super calculator, right? So I want to just check this title. Okay, so I will, how to check this? I can simply come here. You can try with any website. I'm just giving you a variance. Okay, now if you want to get the title, there is a method cy.title. Simply use a sci object and say title. So if you want to print this title, then in the console, you can simply say then I can say sci.log. Log will print in the test runner. Okay, so let's check this, whether this is coming. I can simply say get the title, then I can say log it. Let me check whether this is working. Okay, I will say it dot only. I want to run only this. Let me refresh. Okay, it is loading the web page. Yeah, can you see now? It is logging. Super calculator I am getting. Okay, this is the use of cy.log. If you want to check anything in the test runner console, you can just check this way. Okay, now I want to check the title. Okay, I got the title. Now I want to check whether this title is equal to super calculator. What I can do, I can simply say cy.title. Okay, dot should. I can say should. I can use the method equal. Okay, I can say eq or equal anything. Equal with the value whatever. Super. What is the text? Check. Okay, super calculator. That's it. So now, if this is equal to super calculator, then this test will pass. So let me run this. Can you see now? Suppose if I give something else deliberately, I'll give something like this. Now, if I run this, this should fail. Can you see now? It waits for the maximum 4000 milliseconds, then I will get an exception. Okay, see, you see now? I am expecting super calculator, but in actual, sorry, this is what I am getting. Okay, but it is equal to this. Right, I'll rerun my test. Done. This is clear. Yes, no. You're getting.
Yes.
Right. So this is how implicit assertions works. So you can just try this. So maybe we'll take a short break of 15 minutes. You can just complete this. Take a break. We'll connect by 7:45. So considering 7:30, again connect by 7:45, and then we will take a bigger scenario. Maybe in the same application, we will see by giving the values and all that, and we will just assert something in the screen. Right. So we will take that as an example and we will try. But before that, you take any example and try out all these methods.
Hello, Rami.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Rami. For me, Visual Studio Code IT, like these methods are not auto-populating. Like it's not giving any suggestions. Do you know why?
That is because you might have not added this line. I told you on day one, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, for this one I didn't add. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So please add that because certain methods will not come. So in any test, whenever you are working with Cypress, please add this reference type equal to Cypress. So then only you will get all the auto suggestions coming. Okay. Otherwise, it will by default give you only the basic methods.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Fine then. So we'll take a short break and then we'll connect by 7:45. So hope you're finding it interesting and you're just learning new concepts every day.
Hi, Ravi.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I have a doubt. The second method, can you explain CY.log? Then,
Which one, Kavya?
CY.log.
1 second. Let me share my screen.
And second method.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Just let me know if you can able to
Use
see.
the demo to second one.
This one. Okay.
Yeah.
See, this cy.title will get the title. Okay. And after getting the title, what you want to do? See, I'm just saying after getting the title, then this is a BDD style of writing the code. After getting this title, then I want to log this output in the test runner. That is what I am doing. So now when I run this, what this will do? This will log something like this. Can you see now? The log, what value? What we have done before this statement, it will give me the title. This is what is happening.
Okay.
Get the title and log it is what I am saying. First get the title, then log it in the test runner. If you want to log it in the test runner, what is the command? cy.log. That's it.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Right. Yeah. Okay, fine then. So you complete also all this, whatever we have tried, and type done in the chat box. We'll connect by 7:45. Hey, hi guys, I'm back. So any questions? Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Now, okay, I'll share my screen. Just let me know if you've been able to see my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, now I'll take this example. Fine. Okay, this is something like we created this test day before yesterday. Okay, I'll just say this is, and this is site.on. And I will say this is implicit demo 3. Right. Okay. So I want to go to this element that is the super calculator, and I want to type some value here. Right. So I will just give some value like say 10. Okay. I don't want to wait anywhere. I'll just delete it. Okay. So next I want to go to this element. So that is this element. Okay. And I want to again type something, let's say 10. Okay. So in between, if you see here, this element, right? See, this is a drop down. If you could see, this is a drop down. So how to work with drop down? Okay. So let me first inspect this element. Drop down we will see see later when we talk about all the web elements. But as of now, what I will do, I will just take this element. Now, if I see here, it has a class, ng model, operator, or like class. Okay, let me take this class. It has a class called span1. Okay, now what I will do, after giving the first value, I will simply say cy dot get, and the class name is dot span1. Okay, span1 is what the class name. So in this class, okay, and this is a drop down. So I can use a method called select. Okay, so select, and what I want to select, I want to select plus. If you see here, it has plus all these operators, right? I can just select plus. This is how you can work with drop down. I can use a select method, right? Okay, so now after selecting the second value, I want to click this go button. So this is the locator. This has an ID, go button. Next, what I want to do, I want to just wait to see the result. Okay, I will get some result. I will wait for some time. Then I am checking using contain. Okay, this as of now I don't want. We will see this later. Okay. Now similarly, what I will do for other operations as well. So now what I want to do is, similarly, I want to do for the other operation. So that is, I want to do for subtraction. Simply, the only thing what I need to do is, I want to select minus. That's it. Rest all remains the same. It is not going to change the element property, nothing. Everything remains the same, right? So similarly, what I can do, I can do for multiplication, division. I will just copy this code. I will time for time, right? So now I will say multiply. I will say divide. That's it, right? Okay, so now let's see whether this is working. I will just save this. First, what I will do, I will just go here and run my test and see whether it is performing all the operations. Okay, let me refresh this. Okay, I can see first it is adding, next it is subtracting. See now, it is multiplying, then it is dividing. Right. Okay, now I'm getting a result. Can you see there is a history table coming here? This is nothing but a web table. Right. What I will do, I will just go using this. Okay, I will just try to get this table. This is the entire container. One second. This is not coming separately. 1 second. Okay, what I will do, I will check manually. Okay, I'll put some value. Let's say 10, 10, go. Okay, I'm getting something. Then again 10 minus 10. Go. Okay, I want this table actually. That is why. Let's say 10 multiplied by 10. Right. Then again 10 divided by 10. Right. See, now I got the table. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll try to inspect and see whether I can able to get this table. Body. 1 second. It travels from here. Body. Div container. Okay. Yeah. So here I can able to see the table. So I have a table over here. So this table comes from, okay, this div. Right. So now if you see from the body, there is a division. And this division has some property ng controller and a class. And in this division, I have two child elements. One is a division and I have a table. And this table has a class. Right. And if I go inside this table, I have a header and a body. Right. And if I go to this body, you can able to see this is the table, right? And this is the body that we need to refer. So I need to traverse till this body. Hope you're getting. Okay. So this is the table that I want to validate. I want to check whether these values are there, some whatever values we have created, right? This 20, 0, 100, 1, whether it is there in this table is what I want to validate. Okay. So how do I refer this? After giving all this, I will simply say cy.get. cy.get. I want to write my expression. What I will do, I want to go to the body, right? So first one is I want to go to the body. I will simply say go to the body. There. See, in CSS, this is how you can use. You can use an ankle bracket like this. From the body, this is how the traversing happens. See, generally in Selenium, if you use XPath, what you will do, you will use a slash. Okay. In CSS selector, you need to use an ankle bracket. Right. And so from the body, I need to go to the division, right? Inside this division, which has an ng controller or a class. So I will say from the body, go to the div where this div has a class called container. Okay, container ng scope. I can say div dot container. Dot represents a class. This division has a class called container. And if you want to refer this class also, see it has two class names. If you want to refer ng scope also, what you can do? You can simply put another dot and you can say ng hyphen scope. Okay, see, this is something which is very, very important, guys, which you need to understand. So you should know how to write your custom selector. Okay, see, not every time you can able to depend from your selector playground or like your what is that, your browser. Okay, or you use any external plugins to retrieve your selectors, but you should know how to manually write. This is what I'm showing here, right? So I'm just referring this element. From this element, what I need to do, I need to jump to this table, right? I can simply say after this, jump to the table. So from the table, I am interested in the body. I'm not interested in the header. Okay, because the data what I want to look is in the body. So I will say go to the body, not body, it is T body. That is how it is referred. Okay, T represents a table. T head means table header, table body. Okay, so we will have a separate session for web table, but as of now, I'll just tell you how to look into the table. Right, now this is our object. So this refers the complete table, if you see. Now in this table, what I'm saying, I will simply say dot should. Okay, I'm using my implicit assertion. Should, I will say contain. I'm checking for contain. What it should contain? It should contain, I am simply saying it should contain the value 20. That means I am adding two numbers. Right. Then what it should do? I can say dot should contain 0. 0. Right. And instead of should, I can use chaining assertions. I can use and. Okay. So you can think of, okay, why I should check contain? Can't we go directly to this cell and check whether this particular cell has 20? That we will see separately when we talk about web table handling. But as of now, our prime focus is to understand what is implicit assertions and how to practically implement it, is what I am showing with the demo example, right? Okay, then similarly, what I want to check? I want to check if I multiply, what is the value, and if I divide, what is the value. Okay, so this should be 100 and this should be 1. Okay, done. I think I'm done with everything we have checked. Okay. Fine, all good. Is this clear? Shall we run this? I'll go here, re-execute it. Now all these conditions should run. Okay, it is creating the dynamic table, and then it will use implicit check to implicit assertions to check all this text. Can you see now? All this assert, if I just scroll or keep my mouse, it will highlight on the table. Right. Is this clear? You got it?
So Rami, when we are traversing through that nodes, so in next part we used to give some two double slash, right? To traverse,
Correct.
to skip some node in between. So do we have any?
Here we have to use ankle bracket, the arrow. Greater than symbol.
Which means no need to traverse through all the nodes. We can skip in between some nodes, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, CSS selector is very easy. Right? Can you just try all this? Okay, the program looks big, but nothing is there. We have copy pasted a lot of things. The only first thing you need to create, rest all just copy paste, change the selector, and this is the part which you need to work. So complete this and let me know. We will next move on to explicit assertions. So implicit assertions actually has only two methods. One is should and. Right. Okay. So please complete and type done in the chat. Guys, any doubts? Able to do? Your test case is passing. Kavya, Mary, Monisha, Namir, Sudipta, Ulesh.
I am in the last step.
Yeah.
I'm trying it.
Sure. Yeah. We'll wait for some more.
Rami, one doubt.
Yes, Mary.
In this traversing step, right, you have used the class container option, right? Instead of that, there is another one also, right, in the beginning. What is that? Ng control. Can we use that, or should we not use that?
You can use that also, but ng, if you use, that is not an attribute. You have to use it with a square bracket.
Okay.
Like the attribute selector we have seen, no, the other day. That way you have to use.
Okay, okay, fine.
Shall we move on? Doubts? Is it done? Working?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So we shall move ahead. Next, what we will do, we will move on with something called explicit assertions. Okay, see, this explicit assertions, we will directly apply to a specific element or an object. So here, what we will do is we will use methods, something like assert or expect. Like how we use to should and there. Here we have to use assert or expect. Okay, so as the name says, these assertions are not inbuilt assertions, which will not refer automatically. We have to use methods like assert or expect separately. These are all the methods that generally we will use. Okay, and when we talk about these assertions, that is explicit assertions, we have again two types. One is BDD assertions and the other one is TDD assertions. So which mainly comes from a library called Chai library. Right. So BDD styles are mainly used in expect and should. Even in should, if you see, like we have used a lot of meaningful words. So if you look at the assertion itself, you can able to understand what you're doing. Right. So we used different words like to, be, been, is, that, and, has, have. These are all the words that we used. See, if this kind of keywords are used, you can able to understand it is a BDD type, behavioral driven development, BDD type of assertion. Right. So even in external assertions, even in explicit assertions, we will use this BDD style. How to work with BDD style Chai assertions? I'll show you. I'll just share my screen. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just copy one template. I'll quickly create a new test. I will say explicit assertion dot cy dot js. Right. So here I will put my explicit assertion. Okay, I will create a describe block also. Explicit demo say right. So here I will say explicit demo one. Right. I'll delete all this. Okay. So now what is this explicit assertions? So here I will say this is something like which uses BDD assertions. I will say this is BDD assertion using chai library. See, actually, Cypress borrows this from a library called chai library, which comes by default. You don't want to add any extensions, nothing. Right. So what is the syntax? Okay, let's put this here. Okay, the syntax is as simple as that. You can use the word expect. Expect. As of now, what I will do, I will simply say true. I'm just expecting true. Dot to dot b dot true. Okay, now you see here. See, this is one condition, so which can come from your application. So I'm just checking whether it is equal to true. So just an example I'm just giving. So whatever condition here comes, it will just check. If these two are true, expected and actual, it will pass. Otherwise, it will say fail. Right. So here the chainer attribute is true. Now, similarly, I can also write the negate condition. Expect false to be false. Okay, so this will pass. Suppose if I want to run, let me go to my runner. I will just open my spec, explicit assertion. Now you see, this is passing. Right. Hope you're getting. Now, you can do a lot of things. Say, for example, let me declare a variable. If you want to declare, you can use let, or otherwise you can use var in JavaScript. Let generally we use in TypeScript. Okay, anyway, JavaScript and TypeScript can be transpiled. You can use let. Let's say I'm just defining a variable. I will say this is my name. Let name equal to Remy. And what I can do is I can check like this. Expect the name. I'm just checking the variable. I will say dot to dot b dot. I can use a method equal whether it is equal to, let's say Remy. I can do this way. To be equal, like to be true, to be false, to be equal, I can say. Like this, I can say. Right. And similarly, I can also use a negate condition, something like this. I can say to instead of b, I can use the chainer not. Okay, to not equal this value. Right. I can also check like this, expect the name, I can say 2 dot b dot a. I can check whether this is a string. Okay, this name is a string, right? I can check like this. The chainer here is the string. So now if I run this, if I go here and execute. Oh, okay. 1 second. Something. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, I'm saying not equal to again the same string. I'll give something else. This is a negate condition, right? So it should pass only if this expected and actual both are not matching, because I'm using a negate condition. So now if I run this, see now, right? Okay. Now similarly, I can define one more variable. Let's say let x equal to some number. Instead of a string, I will use a number. Now what I can do, I can use the same thing to check a number also. I can say expect x to be, I can say to be a number. Now this will pass. If I run this will also pass. Right. So similarly, I can also define an array. Say for example, I'm just defining an array with key and value pair. How to define that in JavaScript? I can say something like this. Let ARR equal to, you can use the curly bracket and you can just define the key value pair. I will say name, I will say some name. Let's say John. It's the name, and say age is equal to some value, let's say 25, and I will say his salary is something, let's say some 20,000, right? So I have defined a dictionary, actually a key value pair. I can also check something like this. So now what I can do, I can check expect the array ARR dot to have any, I'm just using the chainer any here, any keys. I can check what key I want to check. I want to check whether there is a key called name. I can check, right? So if any of the key is name, this will pass, otherwise this will fail. So if I run this, you see now, in this object, name, age, whatever, I want to check whether it has a key like this. Suppose I check something else. This key is not there in that array. So this will give me an error. See now? Okay, it doesn't have this key. So I can check something like this. Okay, now I can also check all, like I want to check all keys, name, age, salary, all the keys I want to check at one shot. I can also use something like this. I can say, let's copy paste this. To have, instead of any, I can use all dot keys. And so here I can mention all the keys, comma, I'll say age, I'll say salary, like this. So now if I run this will pass. Right. Now, similarly, I can also check. Okay, so this, there is any variable, something like this. So suppose I want to check expect name. Name is a variable which we have defined, right? Name dot to dot exist. That means, is there a variable existing something like this? Okay, so the chainer here is the to and exist. Okay, this is all BDD structure. As I told you, why I'm calling it as BDD assertion, because it uses all this word to, be, not, okay, have, any, all, exist, right, true, false, all this it uses. Okay, something like this. Then what I can also do is I can say something like this: expect, let's say a value, a number 10, say dot 2 dot b dot, I can say greater than, okay, a number greater than, let's say 5. Okay, something like this. Okay, greater than. So then what we can do, I can also say expect, let's say the value, expect value 2 dot b dot, okay, okay, at, I can say expect the value to be at dot least. Okay, I can say least, let's say 10. So this value should be at least 10. You see now, it looks like a plain English. That is why I call it as a BDD structure, which all these methods comes from this child library. Okay, so similarly, like to be greater than, we also have less than. I can also say this one, something like this, dot, less than. I can use this method, less than, let's say, okay. Right, so all this should pass. Let me run this here quickly. Okay, now you see all the assertions are passing. Right. Okay, so you can also use regular expression, something like this. Say, for example, I have expect, there is a word, let's say testing, dot 2 dot, sorry, dot 2 dot, there is something called match or matches, match. I can say like a regular expression I can use. Whenever you want to give an expression, you need to put it in 2 forward slashes, sorry, 2 backward slashes. Inside that, you need to give your expression, right? So I am just going to say, I want to check whether it starts with a word called test, right? And if you want to check that, you want to use, we have already seen that, right? On day 1, we saw, we want to use the caret symbol, which is above your 6 number. Okay, you press shift and press 6, you will get this caret symbol, and I can just say test. Okay, so here the chainer is match. So I am just checking whether this particular string starts with a substring test. Okay, so now let me run this. It will pass. Can you see now? It's passing. Suppose if I give something else, let's say ABC, and run this, this will fail. Okay, because this is not matching with this start. Right. Similarly, I can also match with ending string. Say, for example, I'll just copy this. Okay, so now I want to match the last 3 words, right? ing. So what I can do, I can simply say ing, and now I should not use this caret symbol, because caret is represented for the start of the string. So now you want to check the end, you need to use dollar, and where you want to use dollar, towards the end you need to use dollar, not at the beginning, right? So caret is for checking the start and dollar is for checking the end. I can check something like this. Now if I say and run, see now it is passing, right? And you can also check a substring, something like this. Say, for example, I can take the same thing, expect, use the same word testing, let's say dot to dot have to dot have string. So whether it has a string, right? Test in it. So this is how you can check a substring, something like this, right? So now if I run this, yeah, you see now it is passing. So this is all BDD assertions. BDD assertions mainly uses this method called expect, and it has a lot of chainers, that is to be, not, have, any, have, all, exist, greater than, at, less than, match, have. All this comes from child library. So this is more than enough. This is more examples for BDD assertions. So hope you're getting like how to use, where to use, all that. So based on the requirements, based on the situations, you can use this kind of assertions. Is this clear?
So I mean, no need to add any dependency and all, or
Nothing. No dependencies, nothing. We don't want to add anything. Child library by default comes in Cypress. Cypress have borrowed these libraries by default. Great. So now we will also see TDD assertions. So this is all BDD assertions. I will just take the same thing. I'll just copy. I'll put it down. I will delete all this. Now I'll say this is TDD assertion. TDD assertion, which comes from child library. TDD assertions use a different style. It will not use this method expect. Instead, it uses a method assert. Assert dot equal. Assert dot equal. Normally in Selenium we use testng. In testng we have assertions. So those are nothing but TDD assertions, test-driven development assertions. So in TDD, the syntax is slightly different. So you will give the expected actual. So first one, we will give the actual. You can also see the syntax. The moment you give the method, you can able to see the syntax. First, we have to give the first parameter as actual, second parameter expected, and the third parameter is the message. Okay, message is actually optional. So say, for example, I'm just going to say 3, come on, 3. Okay, and I will also say the values are equal. This is TDD style. We will not use any like to, be, at, this kind of words we will not use. You remember in testng we will use this kind of assertions. So if you have worked in Selenium, in testng we have an assert class. We will use this kind of assertions where we will have the actual, expected, and we will give a meaningful message. What should be the value? So what should happen if these two are passing? So for example, now I'll say it dot only. And if I run this, let me run this. Can you see now? The values are equal. Expected 3 to equal to 3. It is passing. This is TDD assertion. So same way, I can also say instead of equal, there is something called not equal. Not equal, not deep equal. There are a lot of things. It's a powerful methods. Okay. So we may not be able to recognize everything or remember everything. So these are all the commonly used methods which generally in any kind of test automation, so we wanted to use. So those are the methods I'm just referring here. Okay, so not equal, then say for example, I will simply say 3 is not equal to 4. I can say the negate conditions values are, let's say, not equal. That's it. Right. And similarly, not equal, we have something called strict equal. Say like, let's copy this down. I'll tell you what is strict equal. Not equal, there is something called strict equal. Okay, So strict equal, see, not only numbers, you can also compare any strings or like Boolean values. Say for example, I'm just going to compare two Boolean values. Let's say true, and here also I will say true. Right, I will say simply this bools are strictly equal. Right, like this I can do. And okay, and one more thing. I will say assert dot not strictly equal. Okay, the negate condition. I can say something like this. Say for example, I'll give a number 5 and 5 enclosed in single quotes or double quotes. These are not equal, right? Okay, so these are not actually, both are equal, but they are not strictly equal, right? So I can say not strictly equal. Okay, so this is just a comment. You can either omit it, or if you want, you can add it. But this is optional, the third argument. Only you want actual and expect. Right. So now if I run this, okay. So dot not equal. Some problem. Strict. Oh, okay. This is capital E, not equal. Yeah, it is working. Right. So similarly, I can check any methods are there. Assert dot is true. Is true, is not true. You can check all this. Say for example, whether it is true or not. Whatever value comes here, I'm just checking. If it is true, I will say this value is true. There are plenty of methods like this. Right. Similarly, I can also say a negate condition assert dot is not array boolean. You can also check is not true. That is also there. It's not string. You can check all these methods. Right. It's not true means it should give me false. False. This value is not true. Right. And I will also check in a similar way like how we checked. I can also check assert dot exist. There is a method called exist. Here also I can use exist. And let's say I'm just defining one variable. Let's say a. I can say a is not null or undefined. So let me run this, see what happens. Can you see now? A is not defined, it is giving me, because I have not defined A anywhere. That is why it is throwing me an error, right? So now what I can do, say for example, if I just declare the variable, let's say let A equal to 5. Now we have defined it. So now if I run this, it will not throw that error. So suppose if in case you are using any variable and if you have not defined it, you want Cypress to identify that, you can use these methods. Exist. Right. Okay. So similarly, you can check for not exist. And like how I told you is true, you can check for a string, whether it is a number. So all that you can check. Right. You're getting.
Okay. Can you show the string validation also?
Comparing two strings.
Yeah, that also. And like in the above example, expect you have used, right?
Correct.
Testing
that is
to
the
match,
activity.
yeah.
That is the activity that we are going to use now.
Okay.
See, this has a lot of things, but again, like, so practically we will not use all this in testing, right? So we will not exactly use all this in testing, but main thing is you need to know like where practically you will apply. Say for example, we have used implicit assertions. So this is one very good example that we saw. See, the first two test cases are something for you to understand. And if this you the last test case, here is where actually we used implicit assertions. Say I went and I was interacting with my application elements, application objects, and finally I want to validate something. So here I have used implicit assertions. Now, can you try the same example? Right. And check something. Say, for example, what I want to do is, let's take this alone. Okay, I don't want you to do everything. Just take this alone. That means only addition. I want you to go to this web page, perform only addition. Okay. And using our explicit assertion. Say, for example, you use assert. Okay, so you use this TDD assertion, any of the methods, whatever we have discussed, and check whether this addition gives you a result 20. You're getting what I'm saying? Yes, no.
Got it, but yes.
You're getting the concept.
Yes.
Right. So how to do this? How to do this? Okay, I'll show you. Okay, so we will take a new test. Say this is it only explicit demo 3. Okay, this is, I will say, TDD assertion, a practical example. Something like this. I'll delete all this. Okay, so now where I want to go, let me get the help from the previous example. Okay, so I want to go to this web page. Right. Okay. Now, one more thing. I'll show you with both this. One example I'll show you using BDD assertion. One example I'll show you using TDD assertion. So you will get an idea like where to use. And you can either use this assertion as well as this assertion. So it is up to you, right? But you should know that in explicit, there are two types. One is BDD, the other one is TDD. Okay, first we will use this BDD assertion. Right. Now, what we will do, if I go to this web page, practically, if I go to this web page, okay, I think we are here. Okay, now, okay, I want to check this text. So the moment I open this web page, I see a text called super calculator. Already we have tested the title. So now I want to check this text. Right. So now if I click this, this is what it is giving me. Okay, it is in a H3 tag. H3 tag. Okay, it is coming from this body. Right. So what I will do, I will write a statement like this. I will say cy.get, cy.get. I will say go to the body, then from the body, I want to go to this div. That is, this is the div, main division. In this div is where this is there. Right. If you look at here, from this div, I need to go to this div, then heavy. Right. So this div has a class. We have already discussed this. Has a class container ng scope. So let me use this body, which has a div with a class called container. And it also has one more class, ng-scope. ng-scope. scope. Right. So then again move forward, and I have one more div. Inside this div, there is a h3. I will say div and again h3. Right. You're getting what I'm doing. I'm just referring this element. So from this element, if you look at here, this is a static element which is in a header. There is no object here. See, from this header, I want to invoke this text. This is the text. It is directly in a header tag. It is not in an object like this. So I want to invoke this text. So there is a method in Cypress called as invoke. Invoke. What I want to invoke from here, I want to invoke the text. Invoke the text. So now automatically what it will do, it will retrieve this text. There is a text property. It will invoke the text. Now what I'm doing, dot then. See, this is a method actually. Dot then, I will say put this in a variable. Let's say text1. Any variable you can use. And this is a method. So I want to use the structure. You see now, just retrieve the text from this object and put it in a variable. Right. Now here I will write my assertion. What assertion I'm going to write? I will write this assertion. So I will now say expect the value which comes from here. This is the actual, right? Actual dot to dot equal to, right? A BDD structure I'm using to equal to the expected value. What is the expected text that I am looking for? Super calculator. This is the text that I am looking. So here I am exactly using my BDD chai assertion. Hope you are getting this, what I am doing. This is clear?
Yeah.
Right. Try to understand. So if you just see, this is not that important. See, we are not just getting into or deep diving into JavaScript or TypeScript. We need to understand there is a method, but practically where you implement it is something important. So now if I run this test case, this should pass. If the text there in the H3 tag is super calculator, it will pass. Right. You see now invoke text. If I see here, it will refer that element. Even in the test runner, if you have created any statement, any custom statement that you have created using CSS selector, if you just scroll, if you just mouse over, hover on top of it, it will highlight at the right side. So you can able to understand whatever the selector that you have used is correct or not. Right. Okay. Now, what I'll do, this we understood. So next, we will see one example for TDD assertion. So for that, what I will do, again, I will go to implicit. Okay, I will execute my addition. I'll just copy this logic. Put it here. Right. So here, what it is doing, I'm just typing some value, selecting the plus, selecting the second element, clicking the go button, waiting for some time. So now if I wait, what will happen? I will get the result. Okay. So let's say I will get the result. 1 second. What I will do, I will exactly simulate the same thing. I will say 10, click this go button. Okay. Now, what we will do, we will validate this text. Here there is a text coming, right? I will try to validate this text. Okay. Now, if I inspect this text, it says, one second. Okay, I will just, because we have only one item, right? Then okay, I will try to validate this also. Okay. Now, suppose if I want to take this text, the body, one second, the body. Okay, T body. This is the table row which has a class. Which has a class. Okay, fine. Now you see, I will just go here. This one. Okay. What I will do, after waiting for some time, I will just get a result that is here. This 20 is what I want to validate. Okay, this is quite easy. I'll tell you with the table only how to get this value exactly from this cell. Okay, now if I come here, let me write my statement to extract it. I will say cy.get, cy.get. Now I want to come to this T body. Right. So I will say, okay. So there is only one table. So I can directly refer this T body. So I don't want to again like come from table, all that. I can directly say come from T body, T body, T body. From T body, I need to go to this class, TR, which has a class. Okay, I can directly refer this class. This is ng-scope. I can simply say dot this one. So from there, go to this class. Again, in this, if I refer this class, now if I keep my cursor, you see it refers this entire row, table row. Can you see here? TR refers table row. So in this table row, if you see, there is one cell, there is the second cell, and there is a third cell. There are three cells here. Suppose if I want to go to the first cell, then what I can do is I can use a command nth child of 1 if I want to get this data. If I want to get this data, I can simply say nth child of 2. If I want to get this data, I can say nth child of 3. Right. See, if you don't understand, so please leave it. Go with the selector playground. Okay, if you are getting, then do a custom selector, something like what I am showing now. Right. So what I can do is I can simply say from this class, put a colon, and you can say nth child. I want the third item. See, please note, when you are traversing in a table always the nth child starts with 1. Don't say 0. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This is the third value that I want from this class. Right. So now this will refer exactly the value what I want. That's it. Now from this element, now I want to get the text. What I can do, I can simply use the method invoke. Invoke of text. Right. Then I can use the same structure. Then I can get the text. So we'll give a meaningful name. The add result. Okay. So this is a method. I need to use the method structure. The same thing what I did here. Same thing I'm doing here. Right. Now, instead of BDD assertion, I'm going to use TDD assertion here. So in TDD assertion, what method we will use? We will use assert. So I will say assert dot equal. I want to compare. What I want to compare? The add result I want to compare. I will put add result. I'm sorry. I will say assert equal. I will say add result, comma. What is the expected value? 20. So I need to give both the actual as well as the expected with a meaningful description. I will simply say results are as expected. Something like this. That's it. Okay. So here we are using TDD chai assertion. This is clear. You're getting? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. That's it. So now let me save everything. Let me ensure, okay, this is the only test case we are running. Let me run this and see whether it is working. Okay, so it is loading. Fine. You see now, it is comparing with this text. That's it. So it is up to you. So you take a call whether to use BDD assertion or TDD assertion. So there is so no difference actually here. But generally we prefer BDD over TDD because BDD is more meaningful. People will get to understand because BDD use simple English format. Like all the words that normally we use in simple English, we use that to compare things. So compared to TDD, TDD is bit technical. People needs to technically understand this. Okay, but BDD is more of a plain text. Okay, so from a user point of view, if you want to minimize the technicalities in your test script, always prefer BDD assertion over TDD. This is clear.
Yeah.
Right. So with this, we will stop for today. So hope we have seen a lot of things today. And so please spend some time to practice everything because that is something which is very, very important. Okay, so as we move forward, we have 2 more sessions where we will talk about working with various elements. So from next session onwards, we will move a bit fast and we will try to understand like how to work with links, how to work with drop down. See, I have touched certain elements here and there, but not focusing on how to work with those elements, but on a different concept I have used, right? But in the next session, we will mainly focus on how to work with links or like how to work with drop downs, radio buttons, check boxes. So all that we will start from next class. Right. So hope you're getting and you feel you're gaining some sort of confidence working in Cypress from day one. So if you see that kind of difference, then definitely there is a progress in you. Yes, no?
Yes.
Fine. Any questions, anyone, before we close? So actually we are running late I don't want to extend much of your time. So we shall quickly close. So any questions, anything? All good for today? You can able to practice it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So if we don't have any questions, we'll close for today. We'll connect again on Friday. And please practice. And if in case you have any questions, please come up with questions. So that is how we can gain knowledge, and so you will also gain that kind of confidence in you. Right. And again, like, I do definitely understand. So you may not able to code the same way like what we are doing here in the class, but try to take notes, or like probably try to take screenshots or like whatever. So which will help you out tomorrow in future if you want to look into, or like if you want to refer those programs. Definitely, like when you work in projects, somewhere some concepts will relate. Right. And that is something which is very, very important for you to practice. Please do that. Fine then. So if you don't have any questions, so we'll connect back again on Friday. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot for your time and effort that you're putting in. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank
Remy.
Thank you, Remy.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Remy.
Thank
Bye,
you,
dear.
Remy. Thanks, bye.
Good night. Bye.